air traffic controllers were dominating the headlines because so many decided not to go to work since they weren't drawing a paycheck and they had to do a side hustle, some of them, just to be able to keep the lights on, food on the table and like. Well, according to NBC News, we are down some 3,000 air traffic controllers right now, and this is during quote-unquote good times when the government's reopened. So how much do these air traffic controllers make? How many do we have here in Las Vegas? Let's talk it out with the help of Rachel O'Brien from openthebooks.com. Rachel, let's start with air traffic controllers are starting to draw a paycheck again because the government is reopened. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden, like, we wave a magic wand and everything's back to normal.
Yeah, that's right. There's still a slowdown. It's going to take a while for really the airlines to get their schedules back together. It's going to take a while for the FAA air traffic controllers to sort of get back online. So we know, these were federal employees. They were essential workers. They had to work, like you said, they weren't getting paid. And so some of them chose to stay home. Those who did go to work, they were pulling 6-day work weeks with mandatory overtime. And so they were exhausted. There was also that financial strain, as you mentioned, they weren't getting paid. So last week, there were 36 flights canceled at Harry Reid International Airport. That was a 4% reduction in operations. The airport's one of 40 around the country where the FAA had a mandatory slowdown. It reached 47 canceled flights on Tuesday. That's at 6%, and it's not going to change overnight. There's still going to be these delays.
Well, maybe this can inspire some people who are looking for jobs, because right now we're hearing it's a tight job market, and here we are down, according to the reporting from NBC News, some 3,000 air traffic controllers already. So how many do we have in Las Vegas, Rachel, and how much do they make?
Yeah, so according to the FAA payroll, Nevada itself has 146 FAA air traffic controllers. Most of them work at Harry Reid, 125 of them. They make an average of $166,000. That's higher than the national average for air traffic controllers. The national average is 152,000. There were 10 controllers at Harry Reid that made over $200,000. And so there are about 3,300 air traffic controllers around the country who made over $200,000. So these are highly paid, highly trained and skilled, obviously, to do a very important job. As we see the impact, what happens when they're overworked and understaffed, and not paid. We saw the thousands of people who were delayed at airports, and now these people are getting their paychecks again.
So let's talk about how bad it really was during this time of shutdown. I know that the government's back open and we're headed into a weekend where people are going to be taking to the friendly skies. But what do you have in hand right now on this Friday?
So to put it into perspective, about 1% of flights departing in the U.S. are canceled on an average day. Right, during a major weather event like a snowstorm or a hurricane, that figure is between 5 and 10%. So that's a little bit of perspective. If we're at 6% right now at Harry Reid, undoubtedly it's causing headaches for travelers. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and the FAA administrator, they said that these flight reductions will remain in place as the FAA continues to assess whether the system can gradually return to normal operations. So they warned it's going to take some time before they get back to normal. The airlines, as I mentioned, they have to rework their schedules, ensure they have enough people for where they need them. So they're scrambling to restore as much service as possible before Thanksgiving, when they estimate 31 million people are going to fly. So they have about 2 weeks to sort of get back to normal.
I'm thinking of the old Billy Bob Thornton movie from years ago about air traffic controllers. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it kind of gives you a good idea of how stressful that job is. So this is where not only do we thank you, Rachel, for your reporting, but we also thank all of our air traffic controllers. How many do we have here in town? 125 at Harry Reid, but in total?
146 in the whole state.
146 in the whole state, and we thank them for their service. Rachel, thank you. It's always great to be able to chat with you. Are you here next week?
I'll be here.
We will see you then. Thank you.